Hello, 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 everybody. Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me? Welcome to today's summit. It's great to have you all here. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's great to have you all here today. Today is day two of our International Women's Day 2025 summit, and it's great to be here. It's great to be here. So while we wait for our speakers to come, while we wait for our speakers to come, let us comment on this with our names and where we're joining in from. We'd like to hear from you to know where you're joining in from. Mm-hmm. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. This is the Benchmarks LinkedIn Live event. We are using this event to commemorate the International Women's Day, which is tomorrow, the 8th. And our topic for this year's summit is accelerating women's participation in Africa. How do we accelerate women's participation in Africa? So today we're going to be having two esteemed speakers. We're going to be having Enifuma Wimi. She is the um, founder of the Live Again Foundation. Hello, Christiana. Thanks for joining in from Lagos. It's great to have you here. Right. So Enifuma is Enifuma will be joining us shortly. She is a founder of the Live Again Foundation, and it's an NGO that is based in Lagos, Nigeria. Right. So she is going to be joining us for this conversation today. So while we wait for her, we also have another speaker that will be joining us today, who is Chinoye Emi. She is the an educational consultant and regional manager for LEAP GP Western Nigeria. She is an educational consultant that is helping people with the process of moving from applying from school admission within Nigeria to other foreign countries. So she is here also. She'll be joining us shortly after Informe. Informe is here with us. Welcome, Informe. It's great to have you here. We have Aya Peace joining in from Uganda, Kampala. Oh, it's so great to have you, Peace. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a wonderful time over there in Uganda, and I hope the weather is not so hot as it is here in Nigeria. Right. Informe, it's great to have you. All right. Your video is muted. Yes, it's great to have you, Anifome. Thank you for joining us for these for our maiden International Women's Day event at the Benchmark titled Accelerating Women's Participation in Africa. We're using this live event to commemorate this year's International Women's Day, which is themed action accelerate action. So before Infime comes on stage, I would like to introduce her. She is the founder of the Live Again Foundation, and they are doing an impeccable work here in Nigeria, and hope to expand into other African countries. They are helping women, broken women, women that have been abused and battered, to find purpose again, to gain strength to live again, to be able to impact their families, their communities, and to find their lives generally. So I'm going to invite any format to come up stage now and introduce herself to the audience again. Any format, you have the floor now. Your video is muted.
Oh, but can you see me? Please confirm that you can see me.
Not anymore.
Really? How about now? My video is here. I can see myself. Can you see me? Please confirm.
Can anyone see any format, or is it just me? Happiness, Udwa, can you see any from me right now? Happiness is joining from Abuja. Glad to have you here as well. Thank you so much for joining day two of this event. If you can see any Nifome's video, just comment on the comment box that you can see a Nifome, because I can't see her. Mm,
So what's the feedback?
um, well, nobody has said anything yet, but maybe you leave the room and come back again. Maybe I think now we can see you. Now we can see you.
Okay.
Okay, it's fluctuating, but
Okay, so what
yes,
was
we
the
can see
question
you.
again?
Just introduce yourself again to
Okay,
our
good.
audience. Let them get to know you better.
Okay. Hi everyone. This is like my maybe second LinkedIn live. I don't usually go live on LinkedIn, so I'm happy to be here. My name is Emi Fomelbini. I'm known as a Live Again coach. I help people build better lives and generally help people improve the quality of their lives. So whether it's through consulting, emceeing, speaking, coaching, through my foundation, the goal is to give life. The goal is to offer life-giving solutions that help people. I'm hearing people can't see me. Can I let me try to log off and come back again? So sorry.
All right, that'll be fantastic. Thank you. Hello, Agogo Akpakpa. It's great to see you here. It's great to see you. Thank you. So while we wait for any to come back on stage, mm, while we wait for her to come back on stage, let's see how. Yes, while we wait for her to come back on stage, I want you to comment what your expectations are for today's LinkedIn Live event. What are your expectations? What do you expect to gain from today's events? Just comment on the session on the comment box, and if you're among those that attended yesterday's summit, what did you gain? We had two amazing speakers yesterday. We had Gertrude May, who spoke about career and how women can accelerate their impact in Africa through their career involvement. Then also we had um Enifome is here. We have Get Rid of Me, and also we have Ochiko Ebiwe, who spoke about mindset shifts and how women could accelerate their impact in the African market through a different mindset, through changing their mindset from their cultural background, from what the culture and traditions are told them over time by adopting new mindset, adopting new, according to her, a queendom mindset, the mindset of a queen that makes you know that you are not just there to receive help or to be served, but you're there to serve other people. So if you gained anything from yesterday's LinkedIn live, I want you to comment on the comment box what one of the things you gained from the event yesterday. So while we wait for any from me, I would like to see your comments. I would like to hear your thoughts about yesterday's LinkedIn Live event, how the one of the summit went. So I'd like to hear what you think. We're waiting for you. All right. Agogo Papa, where are you joining us from? I'd like to know where you're joining from. Happiness, where are you joining from? Oh, Happiness, you joined from Abuja yesterday. I remember. Thank you for joining again today. Wow, our speaker is having a difficult time joining in today, but anyways, um, what do you think? What are your expectations for this year's um, for the outcomes of this year's International Days Summit? If you have any expectation, can you kindly comment it on the comment section for this year's International Days as Accelerate Action? What are the outcomes you think that we should be expecting? We should be seeing across sectors, across industries. Mm. Okay, so Happiness says she's looking forward to getting more insights on how to grow professionally. Yesterday was a blast. One thing I learned was how to network strategically before, during, and after an event. Beautiful, beautiful. That was from Gertrude's session. I'll go. Akbar joining us from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining. I'll go. You're joining from YouTube. You're connecting from YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, we appreciate you. Yes, we appreciate you. So we're still waiting for our speaker to join in. So, like for me, um, one of the things I mentioned yesterday was that the African market is 50% women, right? So the population of the African market is has been estimated to be 50% women. However, we don't see that translate in economic activities, right? Especially in higher stratas or a higher cadre. Now, we have women doing so much in the informal market. We have women doing so much even in the professional spheres, but you hardly find there is no balance in the equation of women in the top leadership or top managerial position compared to the ratio to men, the ratio between women and men in in the top managerial positions or top leadership roles is not balanced. There is so much imbalance, and that is why it is not just happening in Africa. I think it's happening globally, and that is why this year's International Days event is titled "Accelerate Action." Accelerate action to help women get more involved in key positions, to get women to sit in key roles in the table, to sit on the table, to make decisions. You see women in different sectors, but you will hardly find women that are effectively placed in decision making roles. So this is what this year's International Days Women event is all about, to see how we can accelerate women's involvement and women's action, women's involvement in different aspects of the global market, and even especially in the African market. All right, so we have our Live Again coach here today. Her name is Enifome. Enifome, you have the floor now. We've been waiting for you, and we are glad to have you. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me. So what was the question again? To introduce myself, my name is Enifome Obini. I am known as the Live Again coach, and basically what I do is to help people build better lives. I give life to people, events, and organization. So my work finds expression in different ways. Sometimes I'm an MC, sometimes I'm a speaker, like now, sometimes I'm a coach. I'm also a consultant, a brand strategist, telesales expert. I also run an NGO, the Lead Again Foundation. But generally, I give life and life-giving solutions across every aspect of my
So for
expression.
those for those who don't know what the Live Again Foundation is, we hear a lot about
Mm.
foundation, and it sounds, yes, yeah, you help people live again. How do you help people live again? Could you please enlighten our audience on how you help people live again?
Okay, so a lot of women are living in the old versions of themselves. A lot of women are living in their past. A lot of women have gone through things, setbacks, stress, trauma, life's basically, basically life's difficult issues. And many women don't actually move on from there. So they look like they have a form of progress, but they don't. They look like they're living, like they're alive, but they're dead. And by dead, I mean they are walking dead. They are just going through the routines and behaving like they have it put together, but most women are actually unfulfilled. Most women are dealing with emotional pain. So what we do with the Lead Again Foundation, so it's two ways. I work with high value women. I work with leaders, female visionaries, to help them reignite their inner spark and just help them stabilize on the path of purpose, and then helping them reinvent themselves for those who want to unleash or launch a new version of themselves. So I use a percentage of that to help the broken, abused, distressed, the ones that cannot afford to pay for my coaching. So what I do for them is I realize that many of them have different limitations. Sometimes some of them have SSC, they've not gone to university, and they want to lead again. So we begin to look for ways that we can help them lead again. So, but basically, in my foundation, what I do is to help broken, abused, and distressed women move from pain to purpose, from trauma to transformation, right? From what was supposed to kill them to leveraging that same thing to become better, build resilience, build drive, build courage, confidence to live again purposefully and profitably. So it's just helping them die to the old version of themselves and then stepping into the new version of themselves and helping them reinvent themselves across all areas of their life, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, and mentally. I don't know if that makes sense to
Fantastic.
anyone, but yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
So any format as a social impact entrepreneur, because what you do is in the sect in the social impact strata, right? As a social impact entrepreneur and advocate, how do you believe gender-based violence affect women's ability to participate um, fully in Africa's economy, social, and political spheres? And what role can we as a people play in addressing these issues?
Hmm. This gender-based violence thing is a serious problem. It affects, let's start with the mental effect of this. The mind, everything has to do with the mind. And a woman who is going through gender-based violence, her mind is not in the right shape. Her mind is messed up. So that woman shows up at work and she just doesn't know what she's doing. She's doing one task again and again. She's not productive because she's not she's not at her optimal level. She's not at her best, right? Because her mind is messed up. Gender-based violence eats into the mental health of women. It makes them feel less of themselves. It makes them feel like they're not good enough. It even affects how they show up to responsibilities, to tasks, to things that they're given to do, how they interact. Sometimes you find some of these women say, "Oh, please, I don't want to come out. I don't want anybody to see me. They stay at the back. They don't want, they're just there." Some of them, well, are driven and look like they're trying to cover things up, but it affects a woman's outlook on life, herself, her colleagues, her job. It affects everything. So they're all mental, emotional, where the woman is carrying emotional pain and she begins to suspect everybody, like she's seeing the world through her pain. And so sometimes she might react or do some things that are not befitting of her, or that are disgraceful or shameful, or things that are less of her standard or herself, right? Is because emotionally a lot is going on there. So gender-based violence affects women in the sense that they cannot show up as their authentic selves. They cannot show up powerfully. They cannot show up in their power because their power has been taken away from them. And when you're going through something like gender-based violence, you question everything. You question what you're wearing. You question why you're wearing what you're wearing. You question whether you're deserving of a title. You question everything. It just gives you this feeling of unworthiness that affects every other thing. There's self-sabotage. There's sabotage of opportunities. It goes on and on and on, and ultimately affects the society because that kind of woman, she doesn't have anything to offer herself, let alone the society. So at the end of the day, her potentials are being cramped and she cannot achieve her full potentials. And that way, she cannot offer herself to the world or offer her value to the world because she's still caught
Hmm.
up in what she's going through, her pain and her mindset, her beliefs, and her quagmire, basically. Yes,
Hmm.
what people
Thank
can
you so
do to
much.
ensure. Okay, yeah, go ahead. I
Yes,
thought you
because I
asked
wanted
another
to ask.
question
So,
after that.
how
Mhm.
do we create a safe place for women who have gone through such abuse? Because we have a very significant percentage of women going through gender-based violence, and
Mhm.
when women who are going through such abuse have children that are seeing the abuse they are going through as well, it also impacts their children, and that can sort of inform the outlook, the expectation those children have for towards life, right? So how do we create a safe space for women who have undergone gender-based violence, so that they can begin to feel worthy again, they can become very useful just to themselves as well as to the society? What do we do as a people to create a safe space for women who are going through gender-based violence?
Okay, so it's so important to not judge or castigate women that are going through gender abuse. I think that's the first thing, because a lot of people have their different versions of why a woman should not be in an abusive marriage or a gender-based violence situation, or why a woman should leave, and they have their perception. What are you still doing there? Maybe it's the woman's fault and all of that. So the first thing is not to judge them, is to be there for them, is to listen to them, is to make them feel safe, because safety is first an atmosphere, is first the way you present yourself. It's first an assurance than a location or a place like a building, right? So we have a shelter, but one of the things that we try to do before we even bring any woman to the shelter is to make her know that she can be safe with us, right? And that she can actually get help, and that there is hope for her. So we do a lot of inner work on women just to make them see that, oh, you can be safe, and you can be safe with us. So many people castigate women. So if you want to create a safe space, it starts from even the workplace. How does a woman feel safe at work? Is she being mistreated at work by even a male boss or something? We don't say these things enough, right? How is she being treated in the office, in the workplace? Creating a safe space is really about being that peace, being the peace of another woman, because you don't know what she's going through. So creating that space is a combination of emotional, mental, and physical, and even spiritual. If it gets to the point where you're a person of faith and you feel like you need to pray with someone, you can pray with someone. But basically, safety is not necessarily a building. It's it's um it's creating assurance that you can count on me, and just really work,
Mm,
desiring to help that woman walk through it without judging her. Because
mm,
sometimes we say, why were you
mm,
there? What are you doing there? What are you still doing there? There's a way we talk to GBV victims that makes them to close off
mm,
and not want to open up. Yeah. So in our shelter,
mm,
we are particular about the way they come in and they receive life, everything, the affirmations, the kind of painting we use, the bed, the way we treat them as queens. So it's really how you treat people. It's really how you make them feel. People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. So it's caring for them beyond what they're going through and making them know that I'm here for you, and then helping them get help. If they see that you're helping
mm,
them get help, no matter what the help is, because sometimes just tell people, don't worry, everything will be fine. How will it be fine? What are you doing to help me make sure that it's fine? So it's a combination of things, but these things I have said should be able to help.
mm. That's a beautiful thought there, Nifome. For gender-based violence and women who go through abuse, there's always a perpetrator of that abuse, and more
Mm-hmm.
often than not, it is the male counterpart. So can you share some insight on how we can engage men and boys in this conversation around women's participation in Africa, particularly in the context of preventing gender-based violence? And what strategies have you seen to be more effective to promote positive masculinity and behavioral change?
Hmm. Positive masculinity. That's a huge word, right? um a lot of times many men do not know the impact of what they're doing on women. That it's not just about the women. Somebody was saying something that they don't know why men hate some men hate women when they came out of a woman. Like, why do you
For
hate women so much?
please, we've lost your video again.
Oh my god.
I don't know why this is happening.
uh, Give me a second, please.
Okay, so while we're waiting for me to get her video together, does anyone want to ask any question? Is there something you've gained so far? Just place in the comment section what you've gained, and if you have any question around gender-based violence and how we can help women who have gone through gender-based violence begin to find themselves and participate more in the economy. Kindly put your comments on the comment box, or share your thoughts or ask your questions. And Ifeoma is here to answer your questions. All right, and Ifeoma, have you been able to fix this? Have you been able to detect what the problem is?
I'm
Mm,
trying to solve it now. Just give me a few
mm,
seconds.
all right. So, gender based violence is a problem in many societies in Africa, and we found that when a woman is bastardized emotionally, mentally, physically, it means that that society is going to suffer. There is a saying that when you empower a woman, you empower a community. But when you disenfranchise a woman, what you're doing is you are taking the community backward by many ways, in many standards, right? Because this woman that is traumatized, that is emotionally bastardized, that's physically abused, is going to be raising children. And if she is not of a very sane mind, if she doesn't have, if she's not if she's not mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically sound, it means that she's going to be raising children that are not going to be sane, that are not going to be that are going to have a myopic view of life. And what that means is that your leaders, your future leaders, are going to be myopic, one short-sighted in their views of life. Your future leaders are going to be they're going to have a funny perception of how life should be handled. So that this is why we are calling on everyone, stakeholders, and people generally. We're calling on everyone to come together and find a way to support women that are going through gender-based violence, help them find help them live again, just the way Informa is doing. Find a way to support them, find a way to reach out to them and help them so that they can be able to bring in their best, the best that they have on the inside of them, to the society, so they can also be able to raise children and people that are going to create positive change in the environment. You don't want to live in an unsafe environment. The reason why many of us are living in unsafe environments is because people who have been abused are living amongst us, and they're living with so much hurts, they're living with so much trauma. And until that trauma is healed, until that abuse is healed, they cannot give what they don't have. So it is our duty as a people, as a community, and as stakeholders to bring healing to people, to bring safety around those that have experienced different forms of abuse. All right, any format. So maybe we should just listen to you speak, right?
Exactly. Why we
Ye-
solve it so that we don't keep people
Yes.
waiting.
Yes. So let's just listen to you
Um,
speak.
so please take the question again, please.
So the question is, I said many women who go through, many perpetrators of gender-based violence are mostly people from like, mostly men or the opposite gender. They are the ones that really perpetrate this, and most times they don't even know what they are doing. Some of them don't even know that these things they are doing. Some of them feel like they are on the right. So we are asking
Mm.
now, how do we promote positive masculinity among men and young boys, so that we
Can you
can
see my
create a
video now?
society
Okay.
yes, we can. Yes, we
Okay.
can. So how do we engage men and boys in conversation around gender-based violence, so that it can enable women participation in Africa? And what strategies can we employ to promote positive masculinity among men? That's the question.
Okay. Thank you so much, and I apologize for all these technological glitches. So you said it outrightly. You said that a lot of men don't know, right? So the problem is an awareness problem. If you know what your actions or inaction is doing to the society, to your generation, to the world, you would rethink. So one of the first strategies I'm going to share is education and awareness. It's so important to educate men. Men don't know. Sometimes they're not even aware that what they are doing is is abuse, because some men were raised in dysfunctional homes. Yeah, some men witnessed their fathers abusing their mothers, and so that's, being violent towards their mothers. And so it gets to a point where you're programmed with what you've been through, and you think that what you've been through is normal, and that's the normal way of doing things. So it's important to educate and make these men aware that at the end of the day, you are not this is not this thing that you're doing, it has generational effect. It has an effect on the society at the end of the day. And then by the time you now organize, so we can organize programs for men, community-based programs, community-based discussions, where we engage men, more men, so that they know that we're not fighting you. It's not you we are fighting. We are fighting the issue of gender-based violence. We don't want you to be violent towards women. We want you to be protective. We want you to protect us. That your muscle is not there for you to beat us. Your muscle is there for you to protect us, right? Helping them, like reorientating. A lot of men think that strength is, I want to show my strength. Let me show her that I'm strong. Strength is not necessarily, showing that you're strong. It is in what you're able to sacrifice, what you're able to tolerate, what you're able to build, what you're able to do, the legacy you're building. And so men need to understand, what kind of legacy do I want to build? A GBV legacy, right? Or a legacy that would inspire young boys and young girls, and the list is endless. Another thing that can happen for men is role modeling and mentorship. One of my grand mentors, Falajiro Toye, he used to organize a program called Locker Room for Men, because they say men don't cry and all of that. There's this the way the society sees men. Men are iron, they're steel. So he organizes the locker room to help men unravel, become vulnerable, release their burdens, and share. That helps. He himself is a role model. If more men can have more role models and mentors that are living that life that we want to see, for example, they don't beat their wives, they're efficient in their offices, they have gotten to the top of their careers, they carry themselves well, they lasted long in their marriages, and their marriages are doing exceptionally well. It kind of helps to restructure their mindset, because many men have been exposed to things that they think that this is normal. So they need to see something else that tells them that this is the new normal. This one that you saw before was actually the abnormal one, so that they can begin the work, right? There's also early intervention programs. Some of us are mothers of boys. I have two boys. How are we
Mm-hmm.
raising our boys? How? Because it's really it's really the family setting, the home, the kind of values we instill in our boys. And even if you have boys around you, you don't even have to be their direct parents, right? You see a boy and the boy is trying to, show that no, that's not what strength is, okay? You need to protect a woman. So early intervention programs, even schools, we can go to schools, we can set up these programs for the boys. Youth organizations should do more for men. I've seen many times people are telling me, you are doing something for women. Men won't come. How about the men? I'm like, the men, somebody else that is their mission to take care of the men will be there, but my mission is to take care of the women for now, right? So more programs, more people should come up, more leaders, more religious figures, even influencers should come up and model healthy masculinity, because the society has modeled, like you said positive masculinity. Society has modeled negative masculinity, where people now think, oh, for me to be a man, I have to have 5 girlfriends, there's just all sorts there that makes you feel like, oh, you're the man when you're committing adultery, when you have the side chick thing. And when side chicks come in, many times side chicks are responsible for the GBV cases, because the man begins to, this man is not beautiful enough. I want to, different things begin to happen. They come with a lot of problems. So basically, early intervention programs, and then engaging the men as protectors. I said that before, but just making them see that, look, I am not a perpetrator. I am a protector. It can do a lot. It can do a lot. But I'll stop there for now, basically. And then the last thing,
Thank
policy. Policy,
right.
policy, policy and legal frameworks. If I know that if I beat a woman, I will end up in jail, right? That has worked for us as a foundation, because we work directly with Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency. So when we encounter the stubborn men
Mm.
that, like there was a particular one that beat, oh Jesus Christ, he beat his wife and beat his son. He beat his son to the point where
Mm.
his son, the white part of his son's eyes, where that was the only visible part, and the son was vomiting blood. So we had to engage the Lagos State Domestic Violence Unit, and they brought him to their office, and they actually instigated his arrest, and they arrested him. They arrested him, and he was in that cell. So that's where policy and legal framework come in. Lagos State is doing a lot for domestic violence victims and for GVP as a whole. They have these policies that if you violate a woman and all of that, if you sexually abuse her, you go to jail and all of that. So more policies, more states should come up with these policies and legal frameworks, right, to be able to help more people in those situations, basically. Because there's a lot happening. It's beyond the home. There's workplace discrimination. So if there are forums that are actively um, creating these policies and ensuring that, look, in the workplace you don't hit a woman, in the workplace you don't this, you don't this, you don't this, in the office, in the this, even religious institutions, there are too many policies that are not favorable to women that are going through GBV. So it just makes them keep quiet and settle and say, let's just stay there like that. It's not that bad. It's bad. It's bad. We need to do more with policy.
Infamous, thank you so much for this conversation. In fact, this story you just shared is mind wrenching. I feel very sad for the woman and her son, and I hope that they are better now, and I hope that
Yes,
man
they
is
are.
being taken care of
The
properly by the
man, they've
government.
dealt with the man, and they're fine. They're fine now. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Anifome. Thank you so much. I'm afraid we have to let you go now because we've already eaten into the other speaker's time. Thank you very much
Oh
for your time,
wow.
and thank you. Okay, I don't think you have any
We
question,
have
but this is
questions.
what Udwak is saying. This is what Udwak is saying. He said, I think we all need to take it upon ourselves if we really want to fight against gender-based violence. It shouldn't just be women supporting women. It should be Africans supporting women, and that's what the benchmark exists for. Thank you so much, Udwak. Policy and legal framework, we need to put a pin on that one. Thank you so much. Okay, so we don't have any questions here from our audience, but you can still put your questions, and Ifeoma will come on the comment section and answer and attend to your questions. Thank you so much, Ifeoma. We really appreciate you, and
Thank
we
you
hope
for
to see you
having
again
me.
very soon. Yeah, have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
So right about now, our second speaker is already on ground. Chinore is here already. Chinore, it's great to have you here. She is an educational consultant and the regional manager for Live GP West Africa, or rather Western Nigeria. Chinore, it's great to have you here. You're here. She's here today to discuss the role of education in accelerating women's impact in the African economy. Chinore, it's great to have you here.
Hello, good afternoon, Mary. So to correct you, I am actually the business development manager, Lead GB Education, covering the western part of Nigeria, not the regional manager.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so sorry for that. Pardon me. So Chinere, if you want to say one or two things about what you think about how how education is going to be impacting women's as involvement in the African market. Do you want to share with us your thoughts on the role of education in accelerating women's involvement in the African market? Maybe if you have a life experience you want to share, that would be very beautiful. So you have the floor now.
Okay, so education, the benefit of education cannot be overemphasized due to the fact that education is actually power. So the saying that says education is calm, that is a big lie from the pit of hell. So how women can actually evolve actually deals with education. An educated woman is actually an educated society because life springs forth from women first because we are the first contact of the next generation. So education is totally necessary for us. So personally for me, I feel education equips you with basic knowledge. It equips you with
Mm,
essential knowledge to survive in any environment. So being educated, personally for me, from my own life experience, I'm actually a trained health safety professional, but I found myself basically in the international study world. So from my experience as a trained health professional, I would say that my knowledge from health, safety, and environmental education is irrelevant to what I'm doing now. Do you understand? So it's just like a continuous process. It's just like it infuses you. The basic concept of education itself is infusion for you to be able to diversify or be able to adapt in any environment you find yourself. So that's what education, the major idea of education is for you to be able to acquire new skills, even if you are new to that environment. But the fact that you're actually educated is actually a pivotal, like a springboard for you to be able to achieve greater heights. You discover that some important edutech female edutech experts now, if you look at their academic background, it has nothing to do with technology. Do you understand?
Mm,
Most of them have nothing to do with tech, but because they have that basic foundation, the basic foundation, which is being educated itself, they can actually
mm,
adapt into any environment they find themselves.
mm, So
Yeah.
what you're
So
saying
that's
is
why,
education offers you the opportunity to evolve over time
yes,
from one level to
yes,
another.
yes. Most especially it gives you opportunity to evolve. You discover that mostly in this my job, in the line of my job, I've discovered that most people that travel internationally, what their foundation, their undergraduate degree covers is not what they're actually going there for. You discover that someone that is actually has a BSc in computer science going into project management, going into business administration, going into business management and every other thing. You've been wondering, how does computer science and management relate? It does in some way. So if you're looking at it, if you're looking into the educational curriculum itself, it is intertwined. There's a little bit of business, there's a little bit of finance, there's a little bit of tech in it. So education gives you that opportunity to evolve. It does. It does.
Thank you. That's very beautiful. That's a very, in fact, I am enlightened now. I am really enlightened. Thank you. So, Chino, as an educational consultant, what do you believe are the most significant barriers to education that African women face? And how can we address these challenges to accelerate their participation in various sectors?
So, as an educational consultant, I believe that the significant challenges that we African women face can be categorized into 4 or 5 segments. Number one being the major, the core of it is the cultural and societal norm. So, from this part of the world, you discover that traditionally the families are actually tilting towards educating the boys instead of the girls. Do you understand? They play more they prioritize the education of the boys rather than the girls, and leading to early marriages, domestic responsibility, in turn hindering the girl child from even having that desire to go to school. Secondly,
Mm,
economical constraint, which the major key player here is poverty. Most family hardly finds it difficult to pay school fees, uniforms, and every other expenses that comes with education. So investing into the girls' education is actually, it looks like is a financial constraint to them. So instead of doing that, the girl child in turn is made to contribute to the household. So, and thirdly is security
mm,
concern, most especially in rural communities or communities that are faced with conflicts.
yeah.
They rather push their boys out to go and study while keeping those girls in the house to protect
Mm,
them from being kidnapped, being raped, or being violated in whatever form. Lastly, lastly but not the least, government policy or government policy. Most, if you look at our educational policy in sub-Saharan Africa, you see that the policies do not really favor the education of girls or even women participation at all. It doesn't favor us at all. Then the fifth is inadequate educational infrastructure. So mostly this is mostly common in rural communities, and just because you're in the urban center, it don't mean that does not mean that you can't get intelligent geniuses in the rural communities. But what they actually face is understaffed schools, under furnished or the facilities that they are open to is nothing to write home about. Thereby, it makes it very, very difficult for these intelligent girls to have quality education. In order to address this, we should adopt a multifaceted approach in it. Number one, community engagement. So we should engage in campaigns that challenges gender stereotype and promotes inclusive education for the girl child.
mm,
Secondly, we should ensure that the policies that is being advocated is in the
mm,
favor of protecting the girl child education at all levels.
mm,
Financial
mm,
support. The financial support cannot be overemphasized, because you know that um in every establishment, in every community, in every status, finances is actually the fuel for it
mm,
for it to
mm,
blossom. So implementing scholarships, grants, making
mm,
school tuition and every other thing very, very low
mm.
for girls can be um a, a way to solve these issues for them.
All right, thank you so much. You've said quite a number of things, and I want to hammer on technology now. During the lockdown, we found that people began to see the need to implement technology in their school curriculum, because many people
Yeah,
were locked in their homes for more than 5 months. At least in some other countries like Nigeria, we came out of the lockdown within 5 months thereabout. But some other
yeah.
African countries, you saw that they stayed for more than 5 months during the lockdown.
Hmm.
Now, it was like a shock to the educational system of many countries, and especially public
Yeah,
schools, right, where children never many children in public school have never experienced what it means to use a laptop, or what it means to use a phone to learn before. But during the lockdown, they were compelled to do that, because they couldn't stay at home for that long without going through education, right? So now I want to ask, what is the role of technology in accelerating women's involvement in women's education and their participation in Africa? Because now, apart from the fact that technology is very good, now we still have a situation whereby many people don't even have access to these technologies. Many women
yeah.
don't have access to this technology. So even if the education is there, how do they access it? So how do we address these two problems, this dual problem of lack of technology access, and then the usage of technology, because many of these women still don't even know how to use it, even if they have access to it? How do we address this particular problem, and how do we implement the use of technology in our educational system across Africa?
Okay, from like you rightly cited, during the lockdown period, that was when I think the era of technology in the educational system came into limelight. So basically, education has a pivotal role in the sense that it helps bridge geographical, financial, and logical barriers in the education. So for learning resources, education and technology actually enables learners or the African women to have access to learning resources from the comfort of their home. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
For situations like, for example, online learning platforms are rampant. You can actually switch into tech if you want to. You can switch into financial, whatever platform, whatever field of specialization you want to go into, dive into specifically. You can actually switch into it, to use the usage of technology. So for women that are actually having have access to technology but cannot make use of technology, how do we
Mm,
address this situation? So I would say that there's something in education that they say a child is a tabula rasa. I mean,
mm,
a plain slate. So whatever is you write on the child is what it retains. So for rural communities whereby they can't have access to this technology, or they have access to it but they cannot make use of it, I will encourage a community-based program whereby these girls or these women can be taught how to make efficient use of technology. Yes, I
Mm,
will encourage that because unlike us in the urban sector, whereby you can actually go online, YouTube, you can navigate through certain platform and every other thing. Like for example, I wanted to navigate how to is it how to process a Shanghai visa. I wanted to navigate how to process a Shanghai visa. I have knowledge of it, but I just needed a practical experience of it. The YouTube was my major go to.
to go to.
But for women, yes, but for women in rural communities whereby they can't see, they don't even know what is YouTube. A community based program should be encouraged.
Mm,
Community-based programs should be encouraged, and this community-based program should take cognizance of should implement their cultural value in
mm,
the program, because
mm,
for countries for rural communities, most especially in the north, whereby most women are prohibited from seeing um, going close to the male counterparts, you will not expect the instructor to be a male. You can bring
mm.
in a female to instruct this
Okay.
girl. So this
Okay.
female instructor actually going handling three position, or would I say is standing as a model to this girl, to these girls.
Mm,
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 First as a mentor,
mm,
second as a tutor, and thirdly as a physical example to these girls that
mm,
with technology you can actually go places. So using a
mm,
male instructor will only make them have that notion that technology is only based for the male counterparts, but having a
mm,
female included community-based campaign for these women is a boost for for them to learn. It's
mm,
actually a boost for them
mm,
to learn. Yes, that's why you see that
mm.
in the educational system in the northern part, you see that their schools are segmented. They're
Yes.
all boys, all girls, and the teachers or the instructors involved are female and male. So we can also incorporate that in technology, having all
Mm,
girls boot camp, tech for
mm,
girls, even caption tech for girls,
mm,
all girls boot camp, even all those caption that attracts these girls to in order to initiate learning for them. So I feel that
mm,
if I believe that with a community-based program or a boot camp that is all girls inclusive for tech for tech girls, like I don't know where I got that caption for all tech girls, all those kind of things. And I think that in my secondary school I had that we had that club tech girls, and you know that kind of feel.
yeah,
And they carry that
they're
special
actually
shoes.
tech startups that have that name, multiple of them.
Yes, everything girls. Yes, example, Women in Tech
Yes,
Africa. Yes, I think
yes,
I registered
yes,
in one of their boot camp. So with those kind of
yes.
captions, it will elicit learning in these girls in order to be able to achieve your aim. I believe
Thank you
that should
so
be the best
much.
approach.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you so much, Chino.
Still,
This is beautiful. I've enjoyed this conversation. I've gained so much knowledge. In fact, I thought I knew so much about education and how it affects women until now. Thank you so much. Now, before we continue this conversation, we have a couple of comments on the comment section from people. Let's take comments. Let's see what is going on at the comment box. We have Faith. Faith James is joining from Port Harcourt. Hi, Faith. It's great to have you here. Faith is saying that I grew up in the north and I can relate to what you are saying, ma. So she can relate with to what you're saying in terms of how culture can be infused to promote the education of girls, right? Then also Agogo is saying education is a powerful tool, right? She said education is a powerful tool in accelerating women's participation. Even basic literacy, reading, writing, and the ability to question and understand the world can make a difference. Thank you so much,
of course, it
Algo.
can. Yes, thank you, Agogo.
So Faith is saying exactly we don't sit together. Okay, so Faith is saying that in the north, because she grew up in the north, that they don't sit together. She can relate, they don't sit together. Then somebody else is saying something. I think that is Agogo. Agogo is saying take Olajumoke Orisheganu, the bestseller turned model. She rose to fame by chance, but later but later lost it because she lacked education and was misled by her
Education,
manager.
yes. I also used. I think I listened to her interview when she lamented.
Wow, really?
Yes, I think I listened to that interview. I really felt for her. Yes,
Okay.
she lamented. She actually cited everything boils down to education because she could not read, she
She
could not
couldn't speak
understand what was
English.
in her
Yes.
contract. She could not
Yes.
speak English and also she could not read. So she could not understand everything that was going on in her the contract. She was just in all she knew was that just that she went for runway, did her modeling stuff, came back and the financial aspect she was in darkness. And you
Wow.
understand, I understand like there are some women that have not spoken out. If they should tell you their story, how education, the effect of education, what not being educated has done to them, you would weep. And that is why I see that for Nigeria, yeah, I would take Nigeria. Nigeria is a very blessed country in the sense that most African homes are now changing that stethoscope of
Notion.
not educating their girl child. Yes, they're changing that notion that they're not seeing the need to educate the female child. Do you understand?
Hmm.
Because like
Hmm.
one of my colleagues, I was talking to one of my colleagues, she has all female. She was like, if my dad actually knew the effect or the benefit of educating me, he would have invested more in me instead of my brothers. I
Hmm.
struggled, I fought for myself, and with the help of my mom, I fought for myself to be able to get where I am today. Now looking back to looking back to her life, those boys, where are they? They are facing their families. She's the only
Hmm.
one responding to her family now. And her dad, before in
Hmm.
his dying bed, he wished he had all girls. Do you
Wow.
understand? And he wished he had done something better.
Yeah, that is why they said when you empower a
So
woman, you are empower a
education.
community, empowering a community, you're empowering a society, you're empowering a family, you're empowering her children, you know. So now the last question I want to ask you,
Yes,
Chinoya, is
empowering a woman, you're empowering the next generation. Yeah.
yes. So the last question I want to ask you is about culture. How culture is going, how culture impacts education, and how do we move? How do we shift from the negative cultural stereotypes we've had so far, the negative cultural practices that we've had that have impacted education negatively, to adopting positive culture? What do you think we can do? What should governments do? What should families do?
So first of all, I feel the first effect or agent of change will be from the family. So
Okay.
from family A to family B, they should have let's say a revival of their brain or their thoughts towards the culture, because looking from tiny memorial, if you look at the culture, especially Africans, those in sub-Saharan Africa, the cultures are against the women. They always sideline the women, always put them in a disadvantaged position. So with proper education and encouragement for women to speak out, I feel this change will start from the family. If the parents actually shun all those negative culture, impute boost their female children's self-esteem to be able to say no to certain cultures or certain practices that is against their beliefs, they're against their value and against their health.
Hmm.
Because how will you tell me that in this day and age, women widows are still segregated to drinking their late husband's cups?
Hmm.
How will you tell me that a woman that is educated will accept such practices? So that is the
Or even
reason
a
why
family that is
from
educated.
the family, the little girls should be encouraged. Their self-esteem should be should be
Boosted.
yes. A family that is educated should also pass down those values and also try as much as possible to boost their child's self-esteem, because
Hmm.
everything boils down to the family before it gets to the
Hmm.
government.
Hmm. So
Because
culture
a
is around
family
culture is mostly formed by families and communities, right?
Yes, family and
Yes. So
community. So everything
you
should
can
be
start changing the orientation from families, from the family level. It can get
from the
to
family.
transcend to the governmental level. Yeah, that makes a lot of
Yes,
sense. That makes a lot of
yes,
sense
yes,
because I've
yes.
seen situation whereby government will put policies against certain things. For instance, female gender mutilation. There are policies against it, but because of customs and tradition, these things are still being
Some
practiced.
families still indulge in such practices. I was even shocked. I don't want to mention certain states or and tribe, but I was shocked that to see that they still engage in such. Has the government done their own? Yes, they have done their
Yes.
own. It's not left for you to either tilt to it or you do what you want. So
Mm.
everything still boils down to the family. The family should change their orientation, their mindset, and also try as much as possible to encourage and try to encourage the female children to speak up.
Hmm.
Try
Thank you
as
so
much as
much,
possible to
Chinoye.
speak
Thank
up.
you so
Yeah.
much. Does anybody have any question I want to ask Chinoye? Does anybody have any question? No questions. I asked that very late, but it's okay. All right. If you have any question, you can also still ask your questions here because Chino will be available for the rest of the day to attend to your questions and to engage with you here on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. So if you have any questions, you can just also put your questions and we'll see how we can attend to them over time. Thank you so much, Chino. It's great to have you. And thank you to all our participants that joined and engaged with us today. Thank you, Algo Akpakpa. Thank you, Faith James. Thank you, Udwak Happiness. Thank you, Christiana. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Aya Peace. Thank you so much for joining. We appreciate your time. I remain your host, Ishoma Imokai Bello. I'm the publisher of The Benchmark, and we are a Pan African news platform that is amplifying the impact of women in the African economy. So we are here to serve you, and we're here to make you see what women are doing and how they are impacting the continent at large. So if you want to engage with us, you can engage with us via our various channels. If you want to reach out to us for publications, you can reach out to us at info@thebenchmark.com.ng, and you can follow us on all our platforms at YouTube, at the Benchmark Business, and at Facebook and Instagram at the Benchmark Business, and on LinkedIn you can follow us at the Benchmark. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. It has been a very inspiring and awesome summit. I want to appreciate all our speakers, from those that spoke yesterday, Gertrude Ume and Ochuko Ebewe. I want to also appreciate any former Ogbimi who spoke not long ago, and also Chinoye Emi who just spoke now. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. Hope to see you in our subsequent event and hope to engage with you more in the
Okay.
coming
Thank you very
days.
much. Thanks for
All right.
having me here.
Have a
Nice
wonderful
meeting
time,
you.
Kinaya. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining in and see you soon. Bye bye, everybody. Hmm.